Welcome to the Chill Chats. I'm Ashley Rose,
And I'm Jenna.
and we are two halves of a chronic shit show. Today, we are getting into Anna's diagnosis story. She's going to walk us through how she was diagnosed, all the ins and outs, and all the nitty gritty details. It's all about Jenna today, which she might have a problem with because she is shy, but we're working through it, bestie, aren't we?
I am a little bit shy, and it does take me a little bit to warm up. I don't like being the center of attention, but by the
Okay.
end of the season, guys, you probably will not get me to shut up. Ashley will be begging for attention on the microphone.
I'll be like, let me speak. And you're like, no, it's the Jenna show now. No, literally, I can attest though, you are very quiet, soft spoken at first, but then when the walls break down, baby, ooh, you really blossom. And then you're just going to keep talking. And that's what I love about you. And that's why we're here because we both love to yap.
Yeah. So today, yeah, all about myself. How exciting. But
Yeah, this is exciting.
let's get into it.
Forced center of attention.
Yes,
This is great. This is exposure therapy at its finest.
yes, here we go. Here we go. Exposure therapy countdown. 3, 2, 1.
Before we get too far into our conversation, let's go ahead and do our rose and thorn for the week. I can go first. Okay, you are not ready for this thorn. So, my husband and I needed to take a flight, and it's kind of like an emergency flight. And I went to buy the tickets. I found the cheapest ones I could, bought them. Great, cool. I went to bed. We're a little stressed, but that's okay. I go to bed. I wake up. I check my calendar. The flights are not there. Why are the flights not there, Jenna? Why are
I
they
don't
not
know.
there?
I don't know, Ashley. Do you have the right dates or something?
I booked the correct dates. This is where this is MS comes in, okay? Brain fog. So, February and March on a calendar, obviously March has way more days than February, fine. But it's like a perfect box. So the first is on a Sunday and every single thing like Friday the 13th, there's 2 Friday the 13th, February and March. So I booked the incorrect dates when I tell you that I had a full body, like immediate stress response. I logged on to my flight, I changed it, and it was fine. But I felt so dumb and frustrated with myself for not catching it. Like, usually I catch everything, but I think just the stress of it. And again, this is a mess. This is how I handle everything. When I do a little oopsie daisy, I always say, this is a mess. So it's something I can laugh about. But honestly, it did scare me a little bit because I was like, how did I not catch this? Like, what is happening? So I'm really frustrated. I mean, I can laugh about it now, but I am frustrated at a little bit at my brain for that. Like,
Okay,
come
but I
on
know
now.
people that do that all the time. Also, I lost my dinner once in my apartment for at least 30 minutes, so you're doing better
What?
than me. I don't know why I decided to put it in, like, the back of my silverware drawer. I literally looked in my
Oh,
bed, under the bed,
what?
the closet, everything, so you're not the only one.
That does make me feel a lot better, so thank you for that, I do
Like,
appreciate it.
at least it's not your dinner that you lost in your
Raise your hand if you have ever lost your dinner in your apartment.
The
Thank
worst thing, it
you.
was one of those, like,
Wow.
frozen meals, so it's not like I could just leave it.
That really honestly, wow, that did make me feel better. Thank you, Jenna.
You're
I just feel
welcome.
like sometimes we're like silly little goofy girls, and that's okay too. But that's my thorn because it was really that took a lot of energy
It's
from me.
stressful.
It was so stressful. I had a migraine for the rest of the day. Like, that one moment took me out, and I love my husband dearly, but he looked at me and he was like, "We need to learn how to handle things better." And I was like, "You?" It came from love, so I accept it, but and he meant the best. I know he meant the best.
Luigi.
Luigi. But I know he meant the best because it really came from concern. Because he's like, "You this took a lot out of you," and he could see it
Mm.
immediately, and I was just like,
But we need to
so
be kinder to ourselves because things
yes, we
happen.
do. Exactly, things happen. I'm gonna panic about it first, though. Come on, we know this about me. I'm
That's
gonna
fair.
panic. I'm
That's
gonna
fair.
panic, and then now I can laugh about it and share it as a thorn. I will say my rose has been creating content for the podcast. It's helped me just feel so creative and fall back in love with content creation, which was one of my intentions for 2026, actually. It just feels in alignment and it excites me. That's my rose. Mm,
I love that.
thanks. Okay, what about you?
So for me, my thorn is I had an allergic reaction this week. I don't know
Boo.
what caused it. I mean, it had to be something I ate
Mm-hmm.
because it like irritated my mouth and my lips and everything. But I went to go see the doctors about it. And guess what?
Uh-oh. Do I wanna know? Oh
Probably
gosh.
not. You have to have a rash due to an allergic reaction that lasts longer than 6 months to
Excuse
be
me?
accepted as a referral to an allergy clinic where I live to get
6
tested.
m so, okay,
So
wait,
the
we're
the rash has to stay on your body for 6 months.
before they refer you. How does that make sense?
I know the allergy clinic won't accept it. She even was like, "Oh, it's actually really concerning that your lips are tingling and getting swollen." Mind you, my lip was swollen at this appointment because on the way, I must have ate something that, like, irritated it, and my lips were tingling, my lips were swollen, my mouth was tingling. She was like, "I don't love that you're having the" she literally goes,
I don't love this, but there's really nothing I can do about
no,
it.
literally, she was like, "I don't
Ew.
love that you're having that reaction." I forgot the name of what that's called, but it's, like, where you could die from having an allergic reaction. Because she's like, "The lips, that means it's, like, kinda the start of, like, that thing where it's, like, your throat could close and stuff."
So you're having an anaphylactic shock, basically. So
Yeah,
anaphylaxis is the word.
she's like, "Even having those kind of allergic reactions doesn't count as a referral to the allergy clinic." She's like, "The only thing I can do for that is get you an EpiPen."
I mean, in the meantime, take the EpiPen, but that's actually insane to me, and I feel like her saying, like, that's not enough to refer, like, you also have multiple sclerosis, which, fun
I know.
fact, if we have an easily triggered immune system, let's say, like, putting it nicely, and every time you have an allergic reaction, your immune system gets triggered, babe. Like, that is what we wanna avoid. That's one of the reasons that I went to an allergist when I was first diagnosed, because I wanted to learn what made my body tick so that I could avoid it to help myself, right? So you're actively going through an allergic reaction and the doctor's like, "Not enough." No.
I don't blame her because she said she's tried to send so many people to the allergy clinic in the last 2 months, and every single person has gotten denied, so it's a stupid allergy clinic that won't, but it's like, how am I supposed to know what it is unless I'm tested? And she prescribed me 2 pills to take twice a day when I have an allergic reaction, but I'm like, "Okay, there's nothing I can do about it." So I just feel like the medical world is frustrating.
It's so frustrating. I will say this, for all of those, and especially yourself, I do feel like you should do this. Heed my advice, babes, please. When something like this happens, get it in writing. And what I mean by that is go onto your portal and say, "Hey, after the appointment," or whatever it may be, like, "Hey, I know we discussed this and you said that my allergic reaction is not enough for you to refer me to an allergist. But because I have multiple sclerosis, because this is pretty severe and you're willing to give me an EpiPen, is there any way that we can go ahead and send the referral, even if it gets denied? I just want it on my record that I did want a referral to this and that you at least tried." Because at the end of the day, like her saying it's not enough, they're going to deny it. Try, keep trying, right? Your case is
Mm,
also a special one. I'm not saying it's like better or more important than anybody else's, but you do have multiple sclerosis. I would reach out to your neuro and let them know what's happening because at the end of the day, it is really important, especially also what you're going through, the rash that you have, the severity of whatever it is that's going on is more than enough for you to
I
get referred to the correct doctor.
I just love
Please.
how it's like, I can only get you an EpiPen because it could be life-threatening, but can't get you to know what's
I mean,
causing
that's
it, but
insane.
whatever.
That is actually like, can we take a second of silence to process that? That's actually insane because an EpiPen is so severe. Like, oh yeah, because we recognize that this could be really something life-threatening, but also can't get you into the doctor.
And I
Sorry
can't
about
know
it.
what to avoid unless you tell me. I don't know. So it's just frustrating. I
That's
get her
weird.
hands are tied, but the medical system is just weird. For my rose this week, I got all 100% on my quizzes this week, which is exciting.
Yes, congratulations. I knew you could do it, girl. You're so smart.
Thanks.
Oh
I
my
was a
gosh,
little
that's
overwhelmed there
exciting.
for a bit, but it's okay. It's
But
going
you
well.
figured it out. That's part of the process. Being overwhelmed, we figure shit out. That's the next step. After feeling super overwhelmed, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna keep going and let's see where this lands. And you got 100%? That's
I did.
amazing.
Thank you.
You must be so proud of yourself.
I am.
Put it on the
It's
fridge. Put like 100 or you I guess everything's
it's all
electronic now.
online.
Take a screenshot, print the screenshot, put it on your fridge. But that's awesome. Okay, so with that being said, when were you diagnosed?
I was officially diagnosed on December 9th of 2022 at the age of 21, though I
Mm.
found out about my MS back in January of 2022. So it took that whole year for me to get diagnosed.
Let's just like break that down really fast because you're saying that you were diagnosed January and then in December is when you were like officially diagnosed.
Yes. Yes.
Girl, what
It
happened?
oh.
What happened?
It was a whirlwind. There's a few, like, backstories, but we'll start with this. In
Mhm.
January, I went in because at the age of 21, when you turn 21, that's when you get your first Pap smear ever. How exciting to be a female, in case anyone didn't know. I went in, got my Pap smear, and I had told my doctor some symptoms that I was dealing with. I had a migraine for about 3 to 4 months. At that point, we knew I had a history of migraine, so she didn't really think anything about it. But then I was telling her how at the time I was in school and I noticed I was mixing my words up a lot, or like the notes that I was writing for school, what was actually coming out on paper was not what I was thinking in my head I was writing. So there was definitely an issue of mix ups with words. When she heard that, she was kind of like, oh, maybe we should have you get an MRI. And that's the reason I got an MRI. But the first symptom that I went in to see a doctor for MS was back in the fall of 2021 because I was having vision issues. And it wasn't the typical MS vision issues of like optic neuritis, losing vision in one eye, or things like that, that a lot of people have when they were first diagnosed. I was actually experiencing the UTAS phenomenon at the time, but I didn't know because I didn't know I had MS.
Fun.
How
Mhm.
exciting!
I wanted to go back really fast. How do you say aphasia? That's the mix-up of words. That is
Oh,
a very
really?
common yeah, that is a very common symptom of multiple sclerosis. It's interesting that that was your first one that you, like, actually noticed. I'm gonna
I was gonna
butcher
say,
this.
I'm not even gonna try to say
Aphasia.
that because I can't do that.
Aphasia. Aphasia. Boom.
Perfect. You won the spelling bee.
So there was that, and then Utah's phenomenon, which a lot of people don't even realize they have it until, of course, they're diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
Yeah, an UTAS phenomenon, I'll explain it quick, is when your body overheats temporarily. If I'm taking a hot shower, a lot of times my symptoms get worse. I have more tingling and numbness. But I was getting UTAS phenomenon because I was biking to campus at the time, and it was probably like a 25-minute bike ride. And when I would get to school, I was hot, I was sweaty from biking, and I was sitting in the classroom, and it was a small classroom. There's only like 15 of us in the class and 4 rows of tables. So it was not like I was in the back of a giant lecture hall of like 500 people, but I was in the back row. And there were times where when I would sit down at the beginning of class, the board was completely blurry. I couldn't read it. It just was weird. The thing that was strange was throughout the class period, my vision got better.
Mhm. When you cooled off,
Yes.
when your core body temperature reset itself, you were like, "Oh, I can see again."
It was just so weird, and I remember there were times where I got an apple juice from the fridge, and it was cold, and I remember telling my doctor at the time that I would drink an apple juice and my vision would get better. So, they were kinda
What does
like,
that have to do with it?
well, I think it was just because
Now
it
I
was
wanna know.
I think it was just because it was cold, like, it was
Oh, because it helped your body cool off. Okay, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and this was the first semester back in person at college because I started college in 2019, and our second semester, we got sent home because of COVID,
Mhm.
so I didn't really notice it before, and I remember over COVID, my vision getting worse, like, standing in the kitchen, I couldn't always read the TV when I used to, but, like, nothing out of the ordinary. I went to go see my doctor, but of course, it was COVID, so I couldn't get with my normal primary care provider, which was frustrating. I don't know if anyone else's doctor systems were screwed up at the time, but mine
Mine
was.
still are.
Yeah, that too.
Still are, so fun.
I barely can get in my primary care provider now, but that's a whole 'nother
Same. That's
issue.
a whole 'nother discussion.
But the doctor was like, "I have no idea." He ran a bunch of tests, he thought maybe I had diabetes, all this blood work, nothing. Pretty much he was like, "I don't know," and it was never dealt with again.
Mm. Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, like, it was never
He's like, "I
followed
don't
up.
know, but you're fine, go home."
Yeah. I was like, "Okay." And then around the same time is when I started to develop the headache I was talking about that I went in and told my doctor about in January. It ended up being a migraine lasting quite a few months. Every day it changed in severity, but it never fully went away. And then I really
Mhm.
struggled with the word mix up and everything. I went in on January 28th of 2022 and got my first ever MRI. I was terrified. Those are a
Mhm.
whole experience in their own.
That's a whole discussion on
Yeah.
their own, okay?
My mom has done head MRIs before, so she was like, "You probably want the claustrophobic medication because they put your head in a cage." If no one's ever told you that, the cage is a little.
I call it the Hannibal Lecter
The what?
mask. Hannibal Lecter
I'm going to
Jenna, our age difference is showing. Ugh. Have you oh my god, okay, it's fine. Send you the movie, you need to watch it. But regardless, I call it the Hannibal Lecter mask because they put you in, like, a little cage, like, your
Okay,
head's, like,
yeah.
literally in, like, a boop, and I don't know if yours, like, stuffs with the foam,
Yes.
but mine, like, it's a
Yeah.
nug, and if
I
you
would
are
be curious
claustrophobic, ooh,
to know if people get music. Do you get music?
I get music,
What
yeah,
the
I
hell?
get music. I've shared this before on my stories, and some people don't. Some people get TV. I'm like, "Girl,
I've heard that. I don't get anything. They won't let me.
they don't give you anything?"
The only time I've had music is when I had it of my leg and my head was sticking out.
That's really odd because, like, they give me the headphones, they give me earplugs, so I put them in, the little
Mhm.
cushiony
I
ones,
get those.
and then they're like, "What station do you want?" And I usually give them, like, Alex Warren or something, and then I get a nice little Pandora station, but at least I have some tune that I can listen to aside from the tune of the womp womps, which is what I call the MRI machine. It's the womp womp machine. But that's a whole whole 'nother thing because some people get stuff, some people don't. The first time that I ever had mine though, for my diagnosis, I didn't have anything. They were just like, "Nope." Sent you in there. Will say my doctor's always said, "Stick with the same machine that you've gotten them from so that they can compare."
That's
Girly pop.
interesting.
Yeah, you need
No,
a
because we have
newer
so many different places that it's just by availability when you go. I've had them at
Hmm,
5 different locations, and even each location has multiple MRIs
interesting.
machines. But anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
tangent about MRIs. That's a whole thing.
Tangent. Yeah.
I did take the claustrophobic medication, so I took that, and
Mhm.
I had it first thing in the morning, and so I went, got my MRI. I did it with contrast for I think that whole year, all of them were with contrast. I don't get them with contrast anymore.
How many did you have within the year?
5.
Girl,
That whole
let
year I
me
had 5.
close my jaw.
So I went home and I fell asleep. And while I fell asleep, I missed a
Yeah.
call from my doctor and they did not leave a message. I opened my MyChart and saw the results. I have a whole beef with MyChart, which we'll get into. But
Mm.
yeah, I hate it, but it's
I
fine.
think everyone does. Raise
Some
your
people
hand
love
if you
it.
have beef with my chart. I mean, I we'll talk about that some other time. Go ahead, keep going.
But I opened the results and it showed demyelination, it showed white matter lesions, and all this Dr. Largen. There we go, messing up
Lord,
my words.
it's
Um,
okay.
Doctor
Jargon.
jargon that I did not understand, and there was a message from my doctor saying, "You have demyelination, like, the cause of this is MS, and then if you have any questions, call me back." So, I called them back, and I remember getting a nurse, and they were like, "Oh, you have to talk to the doctor, we can't talk to you." And as soon as that happened, like, something in my stomach dropped because I was like, "Oh, fuck." Like,
Mm.
I didn't know what demyelination meant. I didn't know what lesions in your brain were. I
I
didn't
mean,
know
how
what
many people
MS
do,
was.
right?
Yeah. And I think it probably felt a lot longer than it was, but I think it was at least, like, 15 minutes on hold. And then they were like, "Oh, we will call you back because she's with the patient." And
Okay.
I remember my dad had came home to check on me. And of course, like, I got a hold of the doctor and she was on the phone and she was like, "You have MS." And he walked in right at that time and he was like, "What the fuck?" pretty much. And
Mhm.
she was like, "Do you know what that was?" And I was like, "No." And I remember my dad walked out and disappeared and I got off the phone. And honestly, like, I didn't really think of it. I was still drugged up, if I'm being
Mhm.
honest.
You still had that nice peaceful feeling from the
Yeah.
medication.
And she had told me that I would just be referred to neurology. They'd call me, whatever, and
Mhm.
that stuff. But I remember my dad came back like 5 minutes later and was like, I found some books on it. Like, you need to do this and this and this and this.
Aw.
That's my dad's way of loving me and showing his love. So, like, I appreciate it. But at that moment, I was like, I'm going back to bed.
You're like, this is a tomorrow or, like, a
Yeah.
later me problem. I cannot be bothered right now. So sorry."
So I ended up going back to bed and got a hold eventually with a doctor at the hospital here. They have an MS clinic specifically. I know not everywhere has it. So I'm very fortunate. Where I live, I have a hospital literally 2 minutes from me and it's 7 minute drive. So I'm very fortunate to have such I was gonna say such a good healthcare system around me, but I know Ashley would disagree.
Ew. I totally disagree.
There are
But
problems with it, but, like,
I
I
was gonna
have
say
easy
the resources being
access.
close is good. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. The access is nice.
Like, I'm very fortunate with that, but I pretty much had an emergency call, I think the 1st week of February, I think it was, with the doctor, and then she was just asking questions. She told me not to Google anything related to MS and to come in, and I went in 2 weeks later for an appointment. It was interesting to say the least. I went in and I remember being so scared, and my mom came with me. We looked at the MRIs and she was like, "I am not diagnosing you with MS." And
What?
yeah. So my primary care provider said I had MS, and then my neuro I saw was like, "You don't have MS." She didn't really explain the symptoms, and I kinda wish she would have explained more of the symptoms because I felt like if she did, I would've been
You
like,
would have said
"Oh,
yes, yes,
some of
yes.
these things I've been experiencing since high school." Like, there was times where I was dancing and I had my toe go numb. I remember went to the ER for that once. Like,
Mhm.
I have had tingling and numbness and things that I thought were normal. I still get it sometimes, but, like, especially in high school, like, there are times where I felt like my legs were on sideways.
Yeah.
And it's just that was
Yeah.
normal. It was what I lived with, so I didn't even think about it, and I did not like doctors whatsoever. I hated that's a strong word, but I felt very uncomfortable by my doctor I had growing up until I was 18 and got a new one.
Mm,
So
mhm.
I just would not go to the doctor
So
whatsoever.
your relationships with doctors from even before diagnosis was like, I don't like it, so I'm gonna try to avoid it as much as possible." And, I think a lot of us can relate to that, and then we write off a lot of symptoms that are kinda weird or funky as, like, normal because we're like, "Doesn't
Yeah,
everyone get random numbness and tingling? What do you mean?" Yeah, I feel you on that, and that's fair, so
it becomes your new normal, and that's just what
right.
it is.
But I can't imagine that this doctor completely disagreed with your primary care and looked at those MRIs and were like, "No, you don't have MS." What?
I don't know enough about the medical world. Well, now I do, but at the time I did not.
Now we're miniature doctors, didn't you
Yeah.
know that?
To recognize that your primary care provider cannot diagnose you with a neurological condition. Like, you obviously have to see a specialist and stuff.
Yes.
That was something I didn't know, but the contradicting was very confusing, and then
Mm,
it even got more confusing thanks to a little thing called MyChart, but we will get there.
my chart.
I left, and the plan was to get MRIs in 6 months and check back in and see how we're doing. So that is what we did, but in the meantime, that period was the unknown. It was like, "Okay, this is saying I have this stuff, it's showing it, but I don't know." And then everyone in my family was researching, and people were researching it and telling me what to do, and I remember it was in February of 2022, I got the Well's Protocol. I don't know if anyone
Oh
has
my
had that
gosh,
book.
we all start there.
Yeah,
I think it's a rite of passage. I think everyone starts there.
and it's not a simple read. It's like a
No,
it's huge.
it's a textbook.
Yes, it is bigger than some of my textbooks now.
It's so much knowledge in there. Yes.
But I remember sitting on my couch and reading it. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I've never gotten past page 9 because I remember reading it and it was talking about her experience, and she was saying she was in a wheelchair and she was a
Mhm.
burden to everyone, and I remember closing my book and going to my room and crying because I was terrified because I was like, "This is my future."
I need to know if this was a collective experience because I'm gonna be so for real with you. I did push through it, I did read more of it, but that was the part where I shut down and I just sobbed, and I went to the bathroom because that's my safe space. That's where I like to cry because no one can bother me because the door's closed, it's locked, and no one can bother me. No one knows what I'm doing in there, right? It's my business. It's between me and God, and that's where I tend to cry and have my breakdowns and everything. My husband now does know that that's what I do. So he's fully aware of that. I went into the bathroom, I just sobbed, and I was just like, "Is this my life now?" And so I feel like that's a I don't wanna speak for everyone, but between me and you, I mean, that's 2 right there. Like, I wonder if that's a collective shared experience among a couple of us at least.
I know well, I guess I can't fully say because I think I've been told the book is more positive, but
Yeah, well, I mean,
I didn't
it
make
is
it
an
there.
amazing thing. Yeah, you're like, "I didn't get past that point," but that's okay because, I mean, following her protocol,
It is
it's very
intense.
difficult. It's a very intense protocol. I definitely am a Wall's protocol dropout, but having said that, I think it's a rite of passage for all of those newly diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I think that we all tend to read it. It is a, like, wealth of, like, knowledge. You have to take bits and pieces of it, but it was very overwhelming. So,
There is information from her that is helpful, and you just have to figure out what works for you. I have done some of her courses and stuff since, and I've found things helpful, and I do believe that there are certain changes you can make in your life that
mhm.
can help your course of the disease. And I know at some point something kind of switched, and I got into learning about all the different things you can do to try to help. And I was very motivated. I listened to the book Beating Autoimmune: The Six Keys to Reversing Your Condition and Reclaiming Your Health.
Oh my god, I'm pretty sure I have that on my bookshelf. I love that.
On audiobooks, I think was less daunting reading because you didn't see how big the book was, but that seemed more practical to apply, and I was very motivated. I was like, "I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna get an MS
Yes.
diagnosis, okay?" Little naive Jenna thought I could fix it all.
You weren't the only one, babes. I same thing. Go on. Yes.
My doctor still never told us exactly how many lesions, but I know it showed multiple, whatever multiple means. My
Mhm.
first one, and then they made me get a spine one, and I had no spine ones in February of 2022. 6 months later, I went in and got another brain one, and it showed even more lesions,
But
and
they never gave you a number.
no, they said,
So they just kept saying, like, vaguely, like, "Well, you have multiple, and now you have multiple more." Like,
yeah,
you're like,
I was
"Okay, cool."
like, multiple more. I do know, and I don't know if anyone else has gotten this, but I remember my second brain MRI being really upsetting, and this can be my beef with MyChart because I don't know where it is everywhere else, but I get the results. It's actually really sad, guys. I know depending on when I get the day and the time of my MRI when I'm gonna get my results because I've had so many MRIs. But
Listen, you cracked the code is what that is what's happened.
like the morning, usually they're back in a couple hours. Thursday nights, you get them back Saturday morning. But I got my MRI results back the same day and I opened it and it said that I had black holes in my brain.
Oh. Oh.
And I was like, what the fuck are black holes? Because I do know I have 5 black holes in my head. At some point, I don't remember which MRI. I know I had a few that, like, healed, but even then, I went into the doctor's. She asked me some questions, and she was like, "I'm not diagnosing you with MS. Come
She
back in 6
still does
months."
no. She still does not think that you have MS at that point.
No,
You're joking.
and, like, this is the thing where it's like, she told me not to Google it. She told me not to go in support groups, and, like, yes, I Googled it in support groups and things, and support groups were scary and overwhelming,
Some
which
of them, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
'cause the ones that I went, a lot of people were diagnosed young, but are now 50s, 60s, and their course of disease
Yeah,
is
and there
very
wasn't the
different.
same treatments and stuff. Yeah.
I don't know, I didn't really know anything else because she wasn't telling me anything else, so the plan was to check up in 6 months, and it was really hard because at this point, it's, like, fall of 2022, and everything in my MyChart says that I have multiple sclerosis. Like, the reasons that I was getting MRI was a known history of multiple sclerosis, so I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, it is an emotional roller coaster of, like, up and down and up and down of up and down the whole year.
I mean, I'm, like, listening and this is not my first time hearing your diagnosis story. However, I feel like I'm breaking out in hives over this. I'm surprised that she just is like, "No, we'll check back in 6 months." There's so much that can happen with MS untreated for 6 months, and, like, the contradiction of what your my chart is saying and what she's saying, I mean, I can imagine that that was just a total mind fuck for you.
Yeah, and imagine I am 21. I'm starting my senior year of college at this point, like, trying to figure out what the hell is happening with me. You know, I have people that are supportive, people that aren't at this point because I had told people. I remember the first time I told people, this shows my age, but, like, I had posted on my private Snap story that I was getting MRI, and, like, it took quite a bit for me to actually say that I had something wrong, but I remember just being like, something came back and I just, like, don't know what to do, and I don't know either what's really going on because this whole thing was so freaking confusing.
Mhm.
And people my age are out doing stupid things, not thinking about it, but I'm, like, trying
Being
to figure
21.
yeah, being 21 and trying to just have fun, and I'm, like, trying to manage school, terrified because I don't know what this means. I'm supposed to be planning my future and what I wanna do after college, and I'm trying to figure out if I have a incurable disease. It was just a lot, and I know my one semester ended up dropping some classes because it became too much, and I had the luxury of where I was in my credits. I could have graduated early if I wanted, which was honestly the best decision for my senior year because it just became a lot.
Proud of you for doing that.
It's hard. It's hard to know what you need to do and learn to take care of yourself, and that is
Mhm.
something I've really struggled with. It's taken me time, and I still struggle, but I'm getting better.
Isn't that interesting how it almost takes something like this, like some medical thing, for us to really pause and be like, I need to learn how to take care of myself. And I need to learn what that looks like and what that means for me and how to set boundaries for myself and not overload my plate. I think it's crazy that like, so many of us, like we go through life and no matter what age you're diagnosed, all of a sudden you're like, wait, I need to prioritize myself. It's almost like we innately don't do that.
Mhm.
And
It's
it's
hard.
crazy. Right, and it's so hard because 'cause you're unlearning, like, "Oh, I don't put everyone else first, I'm supposed to put myself first. Oh, my productivity is not tied to rest or how much I do or don't do." Like, it's crazy how we have to rewire our brains to put ourselves first and actually focus on rest or focus on what is overloading my plate right now, what is best for me. Okay, that's maybe taking off some classes. So I'm so proud of you for doing that because that's not the first thing we think of, but it is something that needs to be done and thought of, and so, yeah, I'm proud of you for doing that.
I appreciate for saying that. You know, it's hard to recognize that yourself and go back and be like, "You did a good job." So, I
Yeah.
appreciate you saying that, and I think that's
Yeah,
also
you
a good
better be proud of yourself.
I think also it's a good segue because not only was I dealing with this and, like, school and everything, I was dealing with some other personal things going on, and then also which is a whole topic of its own that we'll get into, but other people's opinions, and I
Mhm.
told some of the wrong people early on
Well,
within
I'm gonna challenge you on that because it's not that you told the wrong people. You
they don't know
told
how to handle
people
it.
that were in your life, and unfortunately, they just proved that they did not know how to handle it or meet you where you needed to be met. And so it's not that you told the wrong people. It's not like you were like, "You know what? I'm gonna tell these people, and they're definitely not the right people to tell, but I'm gonna tell them anyways." No, you told people that were in your life that should have been supportive, that should have, like, held you and been there for you, and instead, they just showed you who they really were and showed you that they are not emotionally able to meet you there, and that's the reframe that I
That
would
is very
like
true.
to put out there.
We like reframes here,
We
everyone.
we love to reframe each other. I will send her an audio. I'll be on my morning mentee health walk and I'll be like, blah, 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 blah. And she'll be like, okay, well, let's reframe that. You get to do, I'm like, okay, you're right, bestie. Thank you. So we do that a lot.
Yes. But it's good because it's easier to catch someone else doing it than ourselves, and having that
Absolutely.
little person be like, "No, no, 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 no."
Yeah, it's accountability and we love that here. So keep going, keep going. You told people that were in your life that that should have been supportive.
Yes, and they were not, and it was really hard because
Spoiler alert.
this was going on literally, like, it started a week after I found out about my MS back in February 2022 is when it started happening, when I told some people very close to me, I'm not gonna say who they were, but, like, there were people that you think would be supportive, and they were not. They were tearing me down. They were at times saying that it was all in my head, which that is my favorite one for people to say because then I'll be like, "Yeah, it is literally all in the head." Like, the
Yeah,
brain
like,
lesions are in my
literally.
head.
Would you like me to give you a copy of my MRI so you can see it is in my head?
I had people that I was just full of fear that I was giving into the medical world, that I shouldn't listen to the doctors. I had people demanding to know who my doctors were to contact them and talk to them. And I'm like, no, you're not even like a family member. Like, screw off, honestly.
Yeah.
People were telling me
Mind your business.
have CMOS, all
Oh,
these
yes,
stupid
we've
little
heard that.
things.
Yoga. Have you tried
Yeah.
breathing? Drinking
Oh,
more water.
shoot. Let me just,
Box breathing does wonders for your immune system, apparently. Although
it,
I will say, disclaimer, I do believe in all those things, at to an extent. I'm not saying that it's going to cure anything, but I do love breathing and breath work and all that stuff. I need to put that out
and there's
there.
also a time and a place to say it, not
Absolutely.
like, being like, "Oh, you don't have this. Oh, you're just being dramatic. It's all in your head. Do this."
Yeah,
And
no.
so I was met with a lot of that first year, which only unfortunately got worse once I got an actual diagnosis,
Mm.
which is not how it should be. And if anyone can relate, I just wanna say I am so sorry because I know how shitty it feels to be going through something and being so scared, and then everyone is just making it so much worse from
Just piling on
yeah.
you. Yeah.
That's not
Instead
how
of
it
being
should be.
supportive.
At that time, I thought that was normal. It's taken me 3 years to realize that's not normal. It's taken me a long time to get out of that situation. Ashley knows all about
Mhm.
it.
Mhm. But you still got yourself out of it.
Yeah, it took a long time, but I do believe by making room, by getting rid of people, it brings in for better people to come that are more supportive.
Absolutely.
It's hard, but you do not have to go through that. That is not normal. And if you are experiencing that, I understand you're not alone. I'm here for you. I just am really sorry. And I know you will probably never get the I'm sorries from the real people that should tell you, but
Never say never, but you rarely do.
yeah, but I am so sorry. You know what that is like if you do. I went 6 months again to get my diagnosis. So it was in December-ish, I think. It was either in November or
Mhm.
December when I got the MRI.
She made you go get another MRI
Yeah, I had to get my brain one, another checkup one.
with contrast
Mhm.
still? Oh my gosh,
And so I
okay.
had more lesions on that one, and then they wanted to check my spine again. So I know I had my
Okay.
spine one, it was the end of November, and I had a new lesion on my spine. I never had any on my spine. Looking back, it really disheartens me because I wish I knew more about it and the doctor would have talked to me more about the symptoms and stuff. And really been like, "Are you sure you don't experience this? Are you sure you don't have this? Do you have this? Blah, blah, blah." Because, like, that's not something she went over. I had all these symptoms.
I'm shocked because hearing this is that's an entire year of you in a gray zone, you getting more lesions, like, and her being like, "Nah, I don't think so. Like, I don't think it. We'll check it in 6 months." Like, and like, I think that like at the end of the day, like you did your best. You did the best with what you had, and you did absolutely the best that you could. And I think it just, I'm just shocked that it ended that way. I mean, at that point, does she say, "Okay,
Oh,
yes,
it
now
gets
you
better,
have
it just
it"?
gets better.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I opened my MyChart results, and everything at this point too is saying I have a known history of MS. Every MRI I've gotten since
Wild.
January of 2022, I had new lesions besides I just had the one on the spine. Where it was like, it was getting worse. Obviously, my motivation of, "I'm just gonna follow whatever these people tell me and I'm never gonna get a diagnosis," was wrong.
Oh, it's okay. Listen, you were 21. You were 21. You were hopeful. You were hoping that this wasn't gonna happen and that you were like, "Okay, well, maybe if I can just, you know, not listen to my chart, then it'll be fine." Like, ugh, oh gosh.
Yeah, and it just I remember I can picture it to this day. Okay, I remember I was sitting on the couch in my apartment, nothing else was on, and I opened the thing and the results say a new lesion, the disease is progressing due to a known history of MS, and we recommend the spinal tap. Like, I started crying, but I also was like, I do not fucking want a spinal tap, and I was terrified, and I was just like, this isn't good, and I was waiting for my doctor to say something, and she did not say anything for a week. I had to reach
Okay.
out to her to message her to be like, "Hey, I got my MRI results back of my spine and there was a new lesion. It recommends a spinal tap. Is that something that we should do?" She responds with, "You have enough for a diagnosis and you need to see me. Come in."
Girl. Girl. Mm. Okay.
So I was terrified. I went to the appointment alone. I was just scared to be that vulnerable in front of people. I guess, and even though it's my family, it is hard. And I was scared because I was like, I knew what I was going into. I knew going to that appointment, I was getting a diagnosis. And
Right.
so on December 9th, I went in. I did get a diagnosis, and I remember I started crying when she told me. And like, it wasn't like sobbing, but like tears were just falling out.
How many people cried when they were diagnosed? Raise your hand. I'm currently raising my hand. I would like it to be known that I not the first. Well, you guys already know, but, like, I sobbed when it was actually, like, spoken, like, "Yeah, no, you have this." I wanted to hold it in. I don't like crying in front of people, but sometimes you just gotta do it, like, I get it.
And I just remember her going, "Are you okay? Do you want me to go get someone? Do you want a therapist?" I was just a little stunned because I was like, "What do you mean, are you okay? I just got a life altering diagnosis. Of course, I'm not going to be okay." At that moment, I just wanted to leave and get out of that office. I didn't care what she had to say. I just wanted to leave. And honestly, the appointment wasn't even that long, anyways. And she went over some stuff for medications. She said Ocrevus, Kesimpta, Tizabri.
Tysabri.
Tysabri. God, I knew I was gonna do that. I
It's
cannot say
okay. You were close. It's okay. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Like, who
I
knows?
thought
It's
of
fine.
I in my head, I was, like, really thinking about how to pronounce it
I
before I
know you
said it.
paused for a second too. It's okay.
Guys, I cannot say that word for the life of me, and then I think it's Zeposia. It starts with a Z, but that
Mm.
was a daily pill, and she literally was just like the first
Those
one
are
with
your
a T
options.
of Tysabri.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "That's a monthly infusion. Ocrevus is a 6 months one. Kesimpta is a shot, and Zeposia is a daily pill." And gave me the
Mm-hmm.
4 websites, told me to go research them, and told me to tell her in 2 weeks which treatment I wanted to start.
I love how they just like toss the ball back into your court. They're like, you tell us. And we're like, can you give me some more insight, perhaps? Like,
Yeah.
please, could I get some more information on like what you think is like what? Also, it kind of sounds like she had terrible bedside manners. I think that over time, like this is something that can happen, like with doctors and nurses and whatnot, like to where they just become almost like numb to it. They're just like, okay, this is another diagnosis, right? And I mean, it's an unfortunate thing, but it sounds like she just was like, okay, yeah. But instead of being like, oh my gosh, yeah, you've had it this whole time. I'm so sorry. Like I like I just think that's crazy. And
And she did say, "Insurance probably won't cover these. Don't worry about the cost. There are trials. There's ways to figure it out.
mhm.
And there's no bad side effects. Like your hair isn't going to fall out. You can still have kids." And so I went home. I didn't do anything. Mind you, it's December. It's the 9th. It's my birthday in 17 days.
I
Like,
went
it's
home and I'm still a
Christmas. Like,
baby and I don't wanna deal with this is a tomorrow Jenna problem. Yeah, I get
yeah, like, I was
it.
very much in denial. I couldn't even, like, look it up. And then I also was really discouraged because when I was looking up the websites, I saw this is a decision you should be discussing with your care team and your doctor. But I was told to research them and let her know back in 2 weeks.
Alone.
Also, I'm sorry, but how are you supposed to decide what treatment you wanna go on for the rest of your life for 2 weeks?
Exactly.
Like, that is what I was being told. I did ask her. I remember I asked her, I said, "Is this something I'll have to go on for the rest of my life?" And she's like, "Yes, given what we know now, you'll be on it for the rest of your life." So I'm like,
Mm.
that is terrifying, and I didn't want anything to do with it. My sister at the time worked at a doctor office, and so I gave her the drugs and told my sister to talk to the main doctor there, and they recommend certain ones. My mom, I made her research everything for me. But it's funny because there should have been tests I could have done first to tell if any of them could be ruled out. Like the JCV virus, I have the JCV virus. So after all this stuff, after my parents had researched and everything, well, I guess we're getting ahead, but we'll just jump ahead really quick. But like
That's okay.
I decided I wanted to go on the one I can't pronounce, Tysab.
Tysabri. Tysabri.
And then I got the JCV test back and they're like, "Oh, you're high, you can't go on it."
Mhm.
So then I had to restart. There were things that could have been done to make this easier, but the one thing I did know is I never wanted to go back to that doctor.
Yes.
I did not feel comfortable. There was no way I was like, I'm going to work with her. So my mom, I made her do everything because I was just so overwhelmed, but she found other doctors. She got me in with other doctors. I tried some out and like I have an amazing care team now that I love.
Also, you didn't make her do anything.
That's true.
She's your mom. She loves you, so she was there to help you. You delegated, little shift. You delegated. You had the people around you help support you the best way that you needed in that moment. And that was, this is overwhelming for me. Can you please help me do all of this?
That is
So it
very
wasn't
true.
like some like, I'm just gonna make everyone else do it. No, you were like, I am currently drowning. Please help me. And your mom stepped up, and I'm sure other people in your life stepped up and yeah, that's it that is honestly what I had to do. I was like, "Mom, do it. Please help me." But it is really a blessing to have that, absolutely.
Yeah, and so she did all the treatment stuff and found all the information and made it so I could understand it without being overwhelmed. I had an appointment with the new doctor and I was actually at my grandma's house and I remember sitting on the floor in the garage for about an hour on the video chat with this doctor. And when I tell you, if your doctor does not feel good, if you don't mesh, if you don't feel like they're listening or taking the time, listen to your gut and find someone else because this doctor
Absolutely.
I met with explained every single drug that has ever been made for MS, the new versions of them, the old versions, everything, and went over everything in such detail that I was like, "Okay, I can do this."
It really does take the right doctor. Like I think when you're first diagnosed, it's something we don't think of, right? Like you're still learning this world. You're still learning like the Like, how do I advocate for myself? Like, what am I willing to tolerate? Like, what is acceptable, what's not acceptable, right? Like, it's still so very new, but it's one of those things that we have to remember, like, our doctors are working for us. Our healthcare team is there for us. And if we don't mesh or something's not connecting, we can fire them. And it does come down to resources, and I do understand that, but there are other fish in the sea. Like, even if it's like, okay, I can only go to this one doctor's office, if there are 5 other doctors, you better believe that if this one doesn't match, I'm going to the next one and the next one. And like, I will keep fighting until I find a doctor, like you said, that will sit there with you and talk every single treatment option out and talk to you like you're a human and help you feel like, I've got this. I can do this. Like, okay, I understand it now and I can do this. I'm capable of this. And that is what's so important is remembering, oh, we do have the power to find another healthcare team or
And
find
don't feel
somebody
guilty. I felt
and
so
no guilt.
guilty. Like,
Do not feel guilty. No,
I
fire them with so much fire of your ancestors, okay?
I
Fire
felt
them.
so guilty because I was like, "Well, I don't wanna ever see her again," but, like, she's in the same doctor's office.
I would see her and I'd say, "Hi," as I walk in with the other doctor because no, what she did to you was wrong. That was so wrong.
Yeah, and my mom, when she was finding me the doctor, like, she was talking about what I was saying about how she didn't answer my MyChart, or she didn't even take the time. There was a lot of spelling errors in her messages to me. I do know that the person my mom spoke to was like, "Oh, yeah, that is a thing we hear a lot about this doctor."
Red flag.
Everyone is different, and, like, I needed someone who would spend more time with me that I felt comfortable with, and, like, at the end
Yeah.
of the day, like, you need someone that you are not scared to go see because,
Mhm.
like, now my doctor, last time I saw her, she spent over an hour with me each time that I've seen her in December. Her care team matters. If I can't stress anything else, find someone that you can work with. MS is not a death sentence, but it is a life sentence, and you will be living with this for the rest of your life. So find a care team that you can trust and feel comfortable with.
Absolutely. And that is exactly why I travel 3.5 hours for my MS doctor, my angel doctor. I love him. But that it's so true. It's not a death sentence, but it's a life sentence. So it is something that we have to feel that we're taken care of. And that's really important. And also alleviating that stress and anxiety. Right? Like we already deal with so much already and we're already basically fighting our own bodies. So we don't want to feel that anxious feeling every single time we're going to a doctor's office or are they going to believe me or are they going to order the test? Like are they going to be rude to me today? Like that is an added layer that just we do not have room to tolerate.
Yeah, it makes a world of difference. And so I ended up meeting with these doctors. I felt more confident. I was like, okay, I can handle this. You know, it gave me the boost I needed. And at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I knew I did not want a daily pill because there was a period of time
You
where
are not responsible enough for
no,
a daily pill. I love you, but you are not. So
there
that
was
is
one,
absolutely not it.
there was one time because like they say to take vitamin D daily, and I was doing that, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, it's been like 2 months that I was supposed to be taking vitamin D. Like I just wasn't.
Girl, yeah, no. I'm
So
happy you
like
knew this about yourself though. You were able to say confidently, that's not for me.
you really need to dig into yourself and recognize what is doable and what isn't. I knew I didn't want to take a injection, and
A self-injection.
this is not medical advice or anything, but from what my doctor told me, she said the self injections were the least effective. So I didn't.
So that swayed your
Yes,
thought
like
process on
I
them.
I was willing to do it if it was the most effective, but absolutely did not want to do it, and I still don't want to do it to this day.
No, so much research has come out too, like, there's so many different things now because I know that they even have, like, Ocrevus as an
Mhm.
injectable now that you can do yourself, which is a very interesting thing, but your doctors, like I was saying, that really can sway you a lot too, so if they're like, "Oh, don't look at anything online," you're like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna trust the doctor, I'm not gonna look at anything online." If they say, "Okay, this is the least, potent or whatever," you're gonna be like, "Okay, that's fine." But it is interesting how our doctors and again, why your medical team is so important. They help
Yeah.
you so much.
I ended up going with Ocrevus because she was like, "Things that goes directly into your bloodstream are more effective," and it was every 6 months. It was a pain to actually start. It took 7 months since I got a diagnosis to actually start Ocrevus
So you started
in June of 2023. So I
oh my
found out about my MS
goodness.
in January of 2022 and did not start treatment until June of 2023. Every MRI had new lesions, and It did take the year and a half to get on Ocrevus, but the problem was my insurance didn't accept it. I had to send in the appeals from the denial letters. I had to get a certain amount of denial letters to be approved for the Ocrevus free drug program, which I am on now with it,
Mhm.
but it that all takes time. It took 6 months to deal with that. And then once it was, like,
Yeah.
dealt with to even get into the schedule, because 'cause they're booked out, it's all time consuming, and I do think it's really disheartening because my last MRI was the ones in November of 2022, and they didn't take one before I started Ocrevus. So then even the one that I got in 2023 at the end of it, I had new lesions.
Okay. But they don't know if that was from before.
They were like, "Well, it could be a new lesion, or you had 6 months without treatment since you got
And your
diagnosed."
track record kind of showed that every 6 months, like, you were
Yeah.
collecting little lesions as you went. So it's possible that it was probably before starting. It's surprising that they didn't have you do an MRI before you started Ocrevus, because that was
Yeah, I
a
was surprised
necessity for
too.
me.
For a
Like, I couldn't
baseline,
start it until I had an MRI.
it just was an interesting experience. It took a long time. I know for some people this may be a short diagnosis story. It only took me a year. There's people's where it takes.
Several.
Yeah, I've talked to people where it's been over 15 years.
Mhm. Some people who still don't even have a diagnosis, but they believe they
Uh,
have it, and there's just not enough for their doctors to say yes.
And there's some people that get diagnosed within days of finding out. So it is very different. But for me, it was very much an emotional roller coaster. And
Mhm.
I remember that in June before, because I had just graduated college in May of 2023. And I remember that June, I was like, I'm going to be a normal 22-year-old. I'm going to go out and
What is
party
normal
and go to the
even?
bars and do all this stuff. And like, I kind of had a like crisis, I would call it. And I was like
A
going out.
crisis?
I was like, I just want to be normal before I start treatment for the rest of my life. So like I was going out to the bars way more. I'm not someone that would normally go out to bars either, but also because in my college experience I was dealing with MS and like that whole thing. But it was just a lot. And then at the same time, I had people telling me that my MS was fake. I had people telling me that I had it because I was full of sin.
Oh.
And
Wow,
I was
okay.
also told it was okay because I was going to die sooner and be with God. I was like,
Oh
"Oh,
my
okay."
gosh.
I had so many people just say nasty things. I had lost friends since I've been diagnosed. The person I was seeing at the time had told me to hide it, that people didn't need to know, which that led to
It's
me feeling
terrible.
embarrassed of myself because I felt like I wasn't accepting my whole self. Like, if I'm hiding my
Yeah.
MS, I'm not accepting that part of me.
Mhm.
And so I eventually ended up making an Instagram about my MS to connect to other people, which was honestly the best decision I made, and
It
also
helps
to
so much.
share my story because it gave me purpose to talk about it and to be able to connect with the MS community. And I remember at the time, that person that I was seeing told me I was seeking attention by posting
Mm.
that. And I just had a lot of mixed
You had a
negative.
lot of stuff thrown at you, like,
Yes.
from, like, all aspects, from faith to just personal life. Like, you had a lot, and you were just a baby. You were just 21, 22. You were just dealing with things that people your age did not have to deal with. I did wanna say that if you are not vocal or open about your diagnosis, there's no shame in that as long as you don't feel shamed for it. Like, it's like, you don't have to keep it a secret like you were told to do.
Hmm.
I think that that comes from an aspect of shame, right? That they were like, "Oh, don't tell anyone, like, keep it a secret," because, like, they were shamed of it, but there's nothing to be ashamed of having a chronic illness. You do not need to broadcast it if you don't want to. It's such a personal experience. Like, it's a really between you and your maker, whatever you wanted to do. It's not to say that your experience with chronic illness is less valid if you don't have a platform, if you don't talk about it, if you don't have a podcast, if you're not out there creating content about it. It's never to say like, "Oh, that's what you should do," because then that make no. Everything is so personalized, but to all those who have not shared that they are diagnosed or are private with it, that is absolutely within your right and your choice, and I want you to know that you are still seen and you are still heard and you are still loved. You belong here too, and you don't need to broadcast it or talk about it if you feel not called to do that. Now, if you do feel called to do it and you're like, "I don't know where to start," baby girl, the best way to do it is just to start. Like Jenna said, like, she's like, "I started my Instagram and I just started sharing my story." Because if you feel called on your heart and you will know if you feel like, "I want to talk about this." Even if everyone around you in your church, your family, whoever X, Y, and Z, random strangers, whoever, even if they're saying for you to keep it quiet, but it's on your heart to share your story and talk about it and create a platform, then do that because you have no idea how many people you're gonna help. Even if it's just one person, that's always worth it. And
Mhm.
so I really applaud you because you really had everyone and their mother quite literally telling you, "Don't tell anyone, keep it a secret,
And
like,
it was
don't say
people
anything."
close to me, people you would not
Mhm.
think that would be saying that. And off of what Ashley was saying, like, I think that is completely true, and you do not need to feel any shame or anything. I personally felt shame about it because I was being told by the people to feel shame. The things they were saying about it were nasty and made me feel embarrassed and shamed to have MS and talk about it.
And you still rose above it and said, "No, I'm gonna talk about it and I'm gonna share." And I applaud you for that.
And part of that was I didn't know how else to connect to other people.
Mhm.
I was tired of talking to the people around me about it because they were not nice to me, and then
And they also didn't understand. They didn't
yeah,
know what you were going through. They couldn't like, there's a difference between empathy, I think those people don't have it, and also, being able to relate on a deeper level, right? Because, like, we get it, we go through it.
I was 21 at the time. I don't blame any of my friends or anything, but, like, what are they supposed to say to me when it's like, "Yeah, I have a disease that's just eating my brain away." Like, obviously, I don't say it like that, but, like
Oh
but,
my
like,
gosh, no.
it's like our realities were very different, and the only way I knew how to connect with people was through sharing my story, and, like, through that, I learned that I didn't need to be ashamed or embarrassed and feel the way other people were making me feel. It was honestly one of the best decisions I have made. I met Ashley, I joined her chronically chill club the week before my infusion, and, like,
Mhm.
I would have not gone
Best
through that
decision
without her. It
ever.
was. We would not be here today if it wasn't for her, and it
Right.
just was very much an interesting journey. It unfortunately got a little harder before it got better. I had
As
which is
many journeys do.
yes, but there were people that I wish I didn't disclose it to because it just wrecked me. It just
Mhm.
shattered me. I was like a piece of glass that I don't think I really picked up the pieces until last year. Last year was a lot of healing. The year 2025 was healing from everything where I was told that I would ruin people's lives because I had MS by being in it. The things that I was told were not nice, which
Rude.
it was challenging at
Yeah.
any age to be going through this. You know,
Naturally.
it's
Yeah.
and it was just hard and I am here standing today, so obviously survived. We've made it. we
You did it.
I've been on Ocrevus for 2.5 years, which it
Mhm.
has been great for stopping the lesions. My body doesn't necessarily agree with it, so I am looking at switching to Mavenclad, but we're still trying to figure that out. I have been talking about switching treatments since January 2025, and it
Yeah.
has taken me this long to finally feel comfortable enough to make a decision where I'm like, "How was I supposed to pick a treatment in 2 weeks?"
And that's a decision that has lasted with you, right? Like, that, like, kinda like, I don't know, like, you went with this, and thankfully it helped the lesions, but it's also like, "Okay, is this really what I want?" And now you're reevaluating because 'cause you're in a safer space to do so, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can pick as many medications as you want. I always say, if one doesn't work, you keep going. But if Ocrevus is not agreeing with your body despite what it is saying on an MRI, you have to trust your gut and you have to do what's best for you and try it, and, you can always go back to Ocrevus if you need, but it is one of those things that, like, we are allowed to change our minds and we're allowed to say, "You know what? This no longer serves me and I would like something else." But to also go back to what you were saying about people and how to disclose or when to disclose, I can't wait to talk more about that because it is something that, like, when do you disclose it? When are we supposed to tell are we supposed to broadcast it? Are we supposed to make a post on social media? Like, we're diagnosed in a different age where it is social media. Things are online now. Like, there is, like, a pull to be more authentic and, like, share your life, like, the ups and the downs and all of it in between. So, like, naturally, you're gonna go, "Okay, well, I'm gonna share my stuff on social media." But then also, like, okay, so if you share it on social media, blah, 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 if you share it on social media and you haven't told Aunt Betty, and Aunt Betty sees your social media, she's gonna be like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And it's like, "Okay, okay, but are you supportive? No? Okay, well, that's why I didn't tell you." And it's almost like we're getting more support from strangers that we have never met
Yes.
than
That
people in our
concept
corner. I mean, it's wild.
That's why I kept posting on social media because not only did I feel like I found people I could relate to who understood what I was going through, but I had way more support from random
Yes.
strangers in my life than people that were supposed to be my support team and close to me physically. It sucked, but, like, that's what I mean when, like, the MS community is so amazing. I wouldn't wish this on anyone. Yes, I wanna relate to people, but I would not wish this on my worst enemy whatsoever. I don't want anyone to know what it's like to understand what to go through these kind of things, but I am so grateful for this community, and I would not be here today without my MS. I would not be where I am or anything that I've done in the past 3 years since my diagnosis and 4 since I first found out about it. Like, that's crazy to say. It's already been 4 years since I first like, that just hit me. I just realized it's 2026 and it's 4 years since I first found out about
Yeah.
it. Would have been this week because,
It would have been, I mean, like, that's still crazy.
like, the fact that it's, like, 4 years is just crazy. I guess I didn't really process that until this moment. A lot can change, and yes, it was really hard, but there's been so many amazing things. There's things that I've done, like, I've jumped out of a plane, I've swam with sharks.
Sharks.
Sharks, I love sharks.
Crazy girl.
I was scared to live with MS, and I was like, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm scared of sharks. I'm gonna go swim with sharks," because my philosophy with this thing is, like, I was like, "I'm gonna do all these things that I'm scared to do to prove that I can handle whatever MS throws at me," and that is why I got into running. In January of 2023, I set out a goal to run a half marathon, not being able to even run 30 seconds, and then I ran a marathon last year, a
Yeah,
full
you did.
26.2 miles, crazy. So
That's
it's like
crazy.
it's been really hard, but there have been some amazing things, amazing people that have come into my life throughout this, and I will be grateful for my MS because of that, and
I
it's
feel like that's a beautiful philosophy, though, is like, I'm gonna do all the things in life that scare me because, I mean, we only have this one life, right? But it also proves like you can handle absolutely anything that your body or MS or anything can throw at you, and
a
you can
little
handle
secret
it.
I've learned
What?
is usually the fear is holding you back from something amazing.
Yeah,
The
literally.
most amazing, peaceful times I've had is once I didn't let the fear get to me and stop me. Like, and that goes for my MS. There are some of the most amazing moments I've had since I've had MS,
Mhm. Yeah,
and it's scary, but we will get through it. And
absolutely.
I've learned, yes, it was a really shitty beginning to having MS, but it gets better. It
It
takes
does.
time. We grieve, we heal. It's not linear. It comes back at any point. There's times where I am just wrecked, but
Mhm.
that doesn't take away the fact that I still believe that this is helping me become who I am and a better version of myself. And, there is a purpose for this. And yes, I make that purpose, but I would not take it back whatsoever.
No. Well, thank you for sharing your diagnosis story. I am waiting to hear from others who may relate to it or maybe have gone through the same thing. Maybe their doctors also had them wait an entire year before I officially being diagnosed after having MRIs that showed clear freaking lesions. But I don't know. I feel like our stories are so important because there's only one you, right? Like everyone is so unique and MS is a snowflake disease. And so we know that everyone is different. And even the symptoms that we have, we'll have them at different severities. But it is something that at the core we can all somehow relate to something, somewhere, somehow. So thank you for sharing that. And I can't wait to hear from others who may relate.
Thank you for being here and listening.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And we'll be back next week with a new episode.
See you next time.
Bye.